All right, so let's talk about product customization. But the thing is that like when you're doing certain customization, when you're ordering something that the supplier is not traditionally doing, it's not traditionally part of the product that they are selling, because we're actually changing something, or we are adding something, or we are doing some kind of maybe even complete customization to the product to meet our needs, then that can possibly open a whole new can of worms if we don't actually deal with it correctly. So when we're doing product customization, then we really have to ensure quality. And how do we do that? And how do we actually get the peace of mind when we are doing product customization? But hey, word of warning here, because I know so many people do this, and actually I've been together with Victor, we've been guilty of it as well. So product customization is done only when product opportunity has been validated. So doing this kind of customization, doing some complete new product, fine. It can be fun. It's a lot of fun in creating a product out of scratch and so on. But it comes with a risk, and the risk is that there's a high chance that it's going to be wasted effort if we didn't validate the product opportunity in advance. And so that's why this is completely different thing than the low risk, low budget method, because the point of the low risk, low budget method is that, okay, once you have a idea for a product, once you have the product opportunity, then just get something live, just get anything live, just to test out the market with, real paying customers, just to get more feedback, just to understand that there's no hidden information that you have missed. So, I really need to emphasize this, because I don't want anybody to misunderstand it. And especially like if you're just launching your first product, that you spend like all this time in doing customization and creating your perfect product, and you think that, it's gonna be amazing, the demand is gonna be so big. I just know that everyone will love this product, and then once you get it live, then okay, crickets, what happened there? So don't do this customization too early. But anyway, so in this scenario, we are talking about that we have already launched something on the product opportunity, and on the idea, it's already been validated, and it's already been seen that this is good. This is green. It's green light. Let's just proceed. Then at some point we can do customization just to come up with a more unique product. Here we are going to be talking about the benefits of customization, the process, and the professionals. It's awesome if you are the guy who can do all these different designs and whatnot, but typically that's not the most business owners. So typically we need to use different kinds of professionals. And even if we do all the design ourselves, even if we do the mold ourselves, there's still certain professionals that we need to use just to ensure the quality and so on. This is actually super important. What are the different questions to ask when we are doing this? In this process, when we are doing these customized products, and then common mistakes to avoid. What's a potential problem when we are not doing any customization? The obvious problem is that we are all selling the same product as the customers. We are possibly even using the same suppliers as all the competitors. So this means increased competition, little price flexibility. Fine, we can have a better looking listing. But let's say that, the competitors have decent looking listings as well, then there's little that we can do. But the thing here is that if you don't have X factor, you should have an X factor. You should have done that already before getting the product live, right? because I mean that's part of the perfect product blueprint, that really figuring out the X factor, like how can I differentiate from everyone else. And that doesn't necessarily require any customization. It just needs some creativity to think that, okay, how can I be different than all these other product listings, and how can I make my benefits clear within the first few seconds. So when people see my little thumbnail there for my product listing, how can I make it so that my thumbnail actually looks much better than all the competitors? Yeah. I mean, obviously you need to do that. You need to do that in the product listing, but also in the thumbnail that people see before they even end up in the product listing. So other benefits are that, okay, then we have unique products and brand differentiation, and this can attract customers who are looking for something distinct and personalized. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you are targeting the volume, the mass market, if you are targeting like impulse buyers, they're not necessarily looking for something different, because the buying decision can happen so quickly, and that's typically going to be like products that cost like less than $50 or something. So people are not spending hours and hours and comparing the products. They're just gonna enter the search term and boom, they have all the search results there, and then they just click, okay, add to cart, either add to cart or buy, and yeah, I mean that's it. I mean it's so quick. It's not that common that people start looking into it, that I mean this doesn't really match my needs. I want something really, really different. I mean, sure, that can be certain groups of buyers, but it's not going to be the typical scenario when we are talking about volume, when we are talking about mass volume and the impulse buyers. And then if we have something different, if you're really different, then we are going to reduce the price sensitivity, allows us to really command the higher margin. It just allows us to have more control for the products that we do. Then we are able to target more like niche markets. So if you really know the needs like inside and out, we are able to provide something more that they are looking for, because and that's usually why I say that, I mean, you should first start looking into, like when you're searching for product opportunities, you should look for something that you already have some kind of expertise or knowledge, because I mean that's if it's a hobby that you've been doing already for years, I mean, then you know that niche inside and out, so that definitely gives you a competitive advantage. Because I mean, if you don't have that, then it just means that you have to put in a lot more effort than someone who's actually coming from the group. Like once you know this niche, you can actually do certain customization that you are able to address these different needs that target market has. Then there's potential for premium pricing, because if you're really different than everyone else, then customized products, I mean, especially when you combine it with high quality materials and craftsmanship, I mean, it can really justify the premium pricing. Because it's one thing that we are doing really impressive listing that, wow, I mean, this just looks like an amazing product. But it's another thing when people actually receive the product on their hands. What we definitely don't want them to experience is a disappointment that, so this is how it looks like. And I'm sure you as a consumer have also experienced sometimes that you order a product online and the product looks great, the photos look great, but when you actually receive it, it's like, I mean, is this it? This looks totally, I mean, it's the same product that I ordered, but I mean, it doesn't look as impressive in the photos. It's a good question that why sellers don't customize more often, because let's say that it's especially products that we have already been selling for. quite some time then, and actually it has happened for us. I mean we just together we had a like discussion about it with our team, that we have been selling for something for years and years. I mean it's selling good and that's fine and dandy, but where is the product development? Like why has it stopped? Like, come on guys, why haven't you done anything to improve this product past a year or two or whatever? Like it's still the same product that it was like 2 years ago. One key thing is that people just, I guess people are just more focused on launching new products, or they just think that I mean, yeah, it's good enough already, so no need to put any effort. But instead we should actually constantly assume that what works today is not going to work tomorrow, so let's just keep on improving this product, and let's just find another ways how to make this product more different and more unique than all the competitors, because that's going to mean that then we are able to stay ahead of the. But yeah, one factor is definitely also the trust factor with supplier. I mean, they can copy often we just take whatever the supplier has, and that works wonderfully when we are just launching the product in the beginning. But we decide that, okay, we're going to be doing some customization. Then, I mean, of course, there's a worry that can the supplier do it in such a way that we are not going to end up with any annoyed customers or anything like this. So maybe people think that there's just not good enough suppliers available to produce this quality, or typically, I mean, high minimum order quantity. I mean, that goes without saying. Like when you're doing customization, when you're doing something different, I mean, you cannot typically do it for 50 units. I mean, you could, but I mean, it's going to be pretty costly. Too much time spent in this manufacturing. I mean, when customization, this manufacturing, that is slow, so it's going to take some time. So that's why I really want to emphasize that it's not something that you do in the beginning. So let's talk about the different processes and different like professionals that we work with in different stages of this customization process. So then first thing is the product design and conceptualization. So this is the initial phase where you conceptualize and design your customized product based on the market research, customer preferences. So most common mistake is that when people start selling on Amazon, so they come up with some product idea and then just they spend a lot of time designing it and so on. So it's really important to understand here that we are not talking about this kind of scenario here. So we are talking about something that you have already validated, and then, I mean, you want to basically make it more unique. You want to come up with a better idea. And in many cases, it can be actually the same product listing, but it could also be that on the same search term, you come up with a completely new product listing, which means that it can be totally different than the other product that you sold before. So different professionals to work with in this stage are different designers, industrial designers, graphic designers. I mean, they can all collaborate to create these detailed designs, researching and selecting the supplier. And here actually comes the tricky part, is that if you're doing this for the first time, and if you don't have any expertise on this niche, then I mean, so many different things can go wrong. There's so many different things that we can actually overlook. So the chances that something is going to go wrong is pretty high. It's really essential that we have the knowledge and expertise in these niches. And when we're doing something, let's say from scratch, then, I mean, if we don't have that, if we don't have the expertise, then we need to be working with someone, or at least like have access to some person who's able to truly knowledgeable about this, meaning that all the different parts in the manufacturing process, what are the different things that need to be taking into consideration in terms of like assembling the product, in terms of packaging the product, in terms of shipping the product. Because, I mean, especially like the example I told you before, that, I mean, wood tends to change. I mean, there's different types of woods, and the wood can actually shrink or like go bigger, like during the shipping phase, which can take, like, let's say that it takes 1 or 2 months to end up in the hands of customer. So I mean, is there something that can actually happen during these 2 months for the product itself, not because someone would like even touch it or alter it in any way, just like the feature of the material, right? Like wood. Different professionals here in these states are like, for example, sourcing specialists can assist in identifying suitable suppliers and conducting due diligence. This can be done by you as well. Nothing wrong with that, but it just means that if it's not your area of expertise, then it means that you need to put in a lot of effort just to take into consideration all the risks and all the dangers and all the issues that there might be. Then next phase, that's going to be the initial communication and non-disclosure agreement. Because obviously we want to, if you are developing something new, if you are doing something from scratch, if you're doing like, let's say, big changes that none of the competitors have in the market right now, I mean, then we want to do everything we can, own it, so it doesn't happen that next month, like after we get the product live, then next month we see that, oh, all the competitors have the same thing as well. I mean, when that's gonna happen on the listing stage, definitely, meaning that people just rip off your ideas and so on. It has happened to us many times in these states. Like we decide to add, it's not really customization. I would really call it that, even a customization, but it's if you're just adding some different tiny like add-on products to the actual product, meaning just to make it more unique and just to make it a bit more bundle, even though it really isn't a bundle, but you know, it's just thing to get some more attention and differentiate. We had also seen that, I mean, once we have done that, oh, oops, all the competitors started doing the same thing. That's pretty much how the market works a lot, right? I mean, if you have something unique, then if it's legal, then everyone is just gonna copy you, or everyone is actually going to copy you in the realms, in the legal realms. And sometimes, and some of the competitors, I mean, can even just break the law. So that means that we want to totally unique, then we definitely want to have these agreements in place that can give us a bit more safety. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that much, but at least we should definitely still do that. So initiate communicating with these potential suppliers and share these product specifications while ensuring confidentiality through a non-disclosure agreement. So, I mean, there's different templates to use already online, but if this is something really specific thing that we need to cover, then I mean, we can just talk to different legal advisors who can just help us draft the NDA and ensure all these legal aspects are covered. Okay, we're going to be doing the prototype. So create these prototypes of the customer's product to test its functionality, aesthetics, and performance. So this means that, I mean, luckily nowadays, if you need help from an expert, first of all, you don't need to do this yourself. You don't need to even use like expensive experts. Nowadays, you can get anyone from anywhere to work for you as a freelancer, meaning that the person doesn't need to be in the same countries, in the same city, or in the same part of the world. I mean, it can be from other part of the world, because I mean, internet gives us the ability to pretty much find these different people, and there are different sites for this. For like, obviously we have certain websites like Upwork and so on, but there's also some sites that are like specialized in certain categories. Like, let's say that you would need some scientists to help you. I mean, there's a website for that even. So you are able to, I mean, nowadays it's possible to hire these different kinds of like experts, like more on a freelancer base, meaning just to help you out. on a certain project that you're doing. So this is absolutely amazing thing in this day and age that we are living. Do you really get help from anywhere? Yeah, I mean, when we are developing a prototype, obviously we can use the suppliers or the manufacturer as well. But here comes the also important thing that you cannot get this done with the trading agent. Just pretty much forget it, because I guess what trading agent could do is to find the manufacturer in this case. But I mean, it's going to be just more it can be a bit more difficult to use trading agent and I mean, if you're sourcing from Alibaba, then most of these are actually trading agents, or they're really small businesses. So, but I mean, the thing is that they don't typically tell you that they are trading agents. They can actually proclaim to be like big factories, which is not the case. So then we need to be aware that, hey, the suppliers that we are actually using, that, I mean, are these actual legit factories, or are these middlemen? Are these just trading agents like that do not have any kind of manufacturing capability themselves? Once we have figured out, or we have decided the manufacturer, then I mean, we're going to be doing a manufacturing agreement. So draft this comprehensive manufacturing agreement with the supplier to outline these roles, responsibilities, timelines, and quality standards. Again, if you're going to be having some legal mumbo jumbo, then it's best to use these legal advisors. I mean, it's really crucial in preparing these agreements to really protect our interest. And that's the thing. I mean, as you can already see, I mean, this is already, I mean, we haven't even started to manufacture their product, but we have put in quite a bit of effort here. So the thing is that we don't want to do this. I mean, we don't want all this effort to go to waste. So that's why, if you're going to be doing customization, we really have to be sure that that product opportunity is good. This product opportunity has already been validated. We already tested out something on this search term. We have already sold to these customers. We have already gotten like customer feedback, and we have already seen that, okay, there hasn't been any drastic changes in the market for the last half a year or whatever, meaning that it's not a dying trend, or it's not something that it is something that's going to be there also a year later. Because I mean, just imagine that you do all this effort, and you all do all this consultation with all these different kind of experts to get your perfect design plan and so on, and but yeah, you find your manufacturer, but then oops, something happens on the market and the product opportunity is not that good anymore. So then you would just have to scrap the whole project, and that's not cool, is it? Okay, but next thing is the production process. So okay, the supplier initiates the production process based on the finalized specifications and agreed. So here it can be pretty much anything, because it's 100% dependent on the product, right? Different people we can work with are the suppliers, like production team that's managing the production process. But I mean, you may have a production manager to oversee or check with them yourself. In manufacturing, like if you, especially if you're doing it from China, I mean, it's best to have like a prototype. It's best that you have a certain kind of sample that they can just kind of like replicate. I mean, if you're able to do that, it's going to be much easier than leaving it for them to figure out all these different specifications, because like mentioned, I mean, there's just so many different things that can go wrong. It's much easier. We are able to send that, hey, this is exactly the product as such. This is the prototype for the thing that we are going to be, I mean, we want all the products, all the units that they manufacture. We want all the manufacturers, all the units that you manufacture to be exactly like this prototype. In that case, I mean, it's going to be much easier to deal to deal with, right? I mean, quality control is always important, but it's especially important if we are doing something from scratch. If you're doing something custom, some kind of customization, if you're doing something kind of unique thing, then we really have to hold a tight grip in this quality control. I mean, it has to be done throughout the production process to really maintain this consistent product quality. I think everyone is doing this already. So I mean, you use these third-party agencies to, I mean, do these quality inspections. I mean, there's just so many of these companies, and some tend to be better than others, and also the quality of the quality companies tends to vary quite a bit. So that's why when we are doing customization, I mean, I would put special attention in vetting the quality inspection company as well, because let's say that, I mean, most of us have experienced that the quality inspection company didn't really do their job that well. I mean, they didn't check the batch, or they skipped out the step, or they didn't deliver what we actually expected in that manner. So, okay, fine, it's one thing to have that happen for one batch that you have already been, I mean, selling for some time, but imagine if it actually happened for a completely new product that you're manufacturing, your like customized product. I mean, it could totally ruin the whole thing. That's why it's super important that quality inspection company that we choose to take care of our like customized product, I mean, it really has to be super duper good, right? Then packaging logistics. So we plan the packaging design and coordinate logistics for the finished products. One thing here is, I mean, when we are doing completely our own packaging, then it's really important that, I mean, we take into consideration all the different things. So it's not only the dimensions or the weight, but it's also how the packaging itself like behaves, like different kinds of cardboard. So there's really so many different kinds of cardboards. So if the person doing this graphic design for the packaging is someone who doesn't have any experience dealing with that type of material, then it's not going to turn out good. There can be like many different issues that can actually ruin the whole experience, meaning that it doesn't even look good. For example, we had a problem with one product packaging that, I mean, you know, basically the box didn't stay as a box, meaning that it kept opening up. So it was really annoying, and it looked really terrible that the box is supposed to stay closed, but the material is just so loose that it's just like, you know, it just keeps opening up. It doesn't stay like it was intended to be. So cases happen, then, I mean, it's going to result in bad customer experience, which means that, okay, we are going to be getting like 1-star reviews, and it's just going to can be a nightmare. The person who deals with this packaging, I mean, has to have experience in understanding how the material itself like behaves. Production monitoring and acceptance. I mean, there's many ways how we can do quality inspections. And I mean, the most common way is that you just do the inspection before the units leave the supplier, meaning that it's done at the end, like just before shipping. Whenever like there's bigger batches, I mean, it should be done throughout the phase. So like, let's say like one time, like if you're manufacturing 100,000 units, now obviously we're not going to do just one inspection that, okay, just before they the supplier ships out the units, then, okay, let's inspect all these 100,000 units. No. I mean, it's going to be already in the initial stages. Whenever they have something ready, the quality inspection goes there to meet that. I mean, the standards are met. Then shipment of and delivery these customers' products to the desired location or Amazon fulfillment center. I mean, this is not different with it's the same thing. Typically, it's going to be a pretty similar thing, no matter what products use it, I mean, in this kind of Amazon API thing. But obviously, if you're doing some kind of cosmetics or something, then it's going to be a bit different. We need to consider different things than if it's just, if we are just selling some items that are just made out of wood or just made out of plastic or something else. We have to be aware of all the different questions we need to ask in this product process. So let's go through some questions that we can ask from the responsible people in every stage. So let's talk about product specification. One thing to ask, obviously, okay, can you confirm that you have received the detailed product specifications and designs we have provided? So we just, because let's say if you're just doing some small changes here and there, or if you had like multiple documents going through it, then I mean, we really need to make sure that, first of all, they have received all the documents. Not only that, but that they have actually gone through those documents and designs. Want to ask questions that cannot be just answered like yes, no. Because let's say that we just ask this question, is there any part of the specification that requires further clarification? I mean, it's such an easy question to answer no, right? No, everything is clear. But I mean, do you actually believe it when, like, usually, or it's especially, I mean, it's true in human behavior overall. Like, let's say that if someone doesn't have any questions, it just means that they don't have any knowledge or expertise in this area, or they are just not thinking, right? Because let's say that you delegate something to your team member, and it's a thing that they have never ever done before, and you just tell the person that just do this, and if they don't ask you any questions, then it's a red flag, because it just shows that they are not really thinking, or they don't have any expertise, or they don't have any knowledge, or they are simply not even thinking about it. So that's one thing to look out for. Well, actually, this applies to whether you're working with designers or manufacturers or any other part in this process, is that we want to have like references and past projects. So, okay, can you provide references from other clients who have worked with you on similar customized projects? Vetting some different designers, some industrial designers or something. Obviously, I mean, we want to know their track record. We want to get some references. We want to have someone who we can ask that, hey, I mean, okay, so you worked with this project with that person, like, was it a good job or something like this? The work that they delivered, was that like satisfactory? I mean, did it really satisfy your needs? And are there any like past projects or case studies you can share? Are you compliant with industry standards and regulations for the production of our product? Well, I mean, it's more important in certain categories than others, but I mean, it's still important all categories, meaning that especially like European Union is all the time like introducing all different kinds of regulations. So it's really important that we are actually able to meet those regulations. So if you're working with a person who is not familiar with this, I mean, they can easily mess up the whole project, and then boom, I mean, the whole thing just went to a completely wrong direction. Then, I mean, okay, can you provide some documentation or certification to confirm this compliance? So to really ensure that the professional, I mean, is up to speed about all these regulations and certifications in all these different markets. And ideally, I mean, we want to be able to sell the product in, worldwide, meaning that it has to meet the US regulation, it has to meet the European regulation and certification. And that's going to be like the main targets, main markets, right? Typically. Then the product timeline. Yeah, I mean, I would say that overall, human beings are not good at estimating time. Like, how long is it actually going to take to do this whole thing. I mean, human beings are so bad at it. We are so bad at it. So we tend to be too optimistic in the time when we estimate the time that how long it actually takes to get something done. But let's say that we want to get this product live as quickly as possible, so we don't have limited amounts of time available. So when we actually get this timeline estimation, it's going to be important that that it sticks, that it's not gonna, if we are planning that if this is going to take like 3 months or 4 months or whatever, so it doesn't end up taking a year, right? So what's the estimated timeline for a product from start to finish? What are there potential delays that might affect the schedule? If they say that no, there's no potential delays, that's already a bad sign. So this question, it's better to ask that, okay, what kind of potential delays could there be, instead of just asking yes no questions. Typically yes no questions, it's so easy to dodge them, say that no, there's no issues, just okay, let's move on. And that can really be a catastrophic in when we are actually manufacturing something. Then it's super important to work with supplier who is able to deliver on capacity. So we ask them, okay, what is the production capacity that you can handle? So are you able to do you have the necessary production capacity to meet our order requirement? And then let's talk about like quality control and inspection. In this case, when we're doing something customized, we should really have like good, decent amount of specifications that to give to the quality inspection company, so that they are able to assure that nothing is missed. So what quality control measures do you have in place during the production process? Are there any inspection steps to ensure the product meets our specifications? And how do you ensure the production of our intellectual property designs and trademarks during and after production? Can we include specific clauses in the contract regarding intellectual property rights? That I already mentioned that, we don't want to do this too soon for a product that we hasn't already been validated, because if that happens, then there's very high likelihood that we are going to be doing some wasted effort. So of course, you never know what sells on Amazon, and maybe you could build $1 million business even just selling like car tires or whatever. It can happen, or just putting some random things on Amazon. Amazon is so unpredictable in that sense that even if there's no like data showing that it might turn to a success, it doesn't mean that there's no chance in hell. No, it can very likely be that the Amazon algorithm is able to find the need, find the demand for the product in question. That's possible and that can happen, but we should definitely not rely on it. It's because we want to minimize the risk. We want to mitigate the risk. So to really mitigate the risk, we want to test the waters with something and then do this customization at a later stage. Like, let's say that we have an idea for a new product. Nobody's selling it on Amazon already. There's nothing quite like that on Amazon. So if that would be the case, then how would we actually approach? What could be our approach for this kind of scenario? I would say that it really has to be like incremental and iterative, meaning that we get something live to the market as quickly as possible. It's more about that we are trying to find the audience, we are trying to find the keywords, we are trying to find like the potential buyers for the product. Because if we just take a new product and just put it out to Amazon, it might work, but chances are it's much more likely that it's not going to work out, and instead, we are just going to end up with inventory that's not selling on Amazon, or it takes really long time to sell it. Insufficient market research. it means failing to validate demand and understand customer preferences. I mean, it can really lead to developing customized products that lack market appeal. And I would say that this is one of the most common mistakes. People just assume that their product is going to sell because it's a superior product, it's maybe the best product, it's the best idea, or whatever. But I mean, none of that thing matters, because I mean, people don't even want the best product. They're just, because typically they are not willing to pay for that. So they just want a good enough, or let's say that the mass audience, like especially the impulse buyers, they just want a like good enough product with a decent price, and price main driving factor, right? So I would say that, like it says here, to analyze competitors' offerings to understand the gaps and opportunities in the market. So that's basically the same thing that we do with the perfect product blueprint. But I mean, if you are thinking of doing this kind of like bigger customization, then I mean, I would strongly suggest to launch something on that given keyword before, just to see that how the market responds, right? Another thing is that, like I mentioned, like the best way is to really have this prototype and sampling, because it's going to be much easier for the manufacturer to see that, okay, so this is product. Now it makes sense. Yeah, we didn't understand this area in the specification, but now that we see the sample, now that we see the prototype, I mean, yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, I mean, it's not a problem. We can like mass produce this. It's a mistake in not investing in creating prototypes or obtaining samples before mass production, because that can just result in these potential design flaws and quality issues. Manufacture this prototype in any way that you can, right? Having this lack of I mean, first of all, we need to have the prototype, but we also need to have this product specification. Incomplete product specification, if there's any unclarity, I mean, it will lead to misunderstandings with the manufacturers. Then it means that, okay, we are going to produce something that doesn't match our expectations. So what we want to give is detailed visual references and written instructions to avoid all this misunderstanding. And it's another thing that we don't want to rush into manufacture, rush these agreements, because we want to thoroughly vet these suppliers, and we really want to have like thorough agreement. So without this clear contractual terms, I mean, it can lead to disputes, and maybe even that they just rip off the design, and I mean all kinds of issues. So here, their reputation, experience, capabilities, I mean, it really plays a big part, and we have to know their track records. So what kind of references, customer testimonials they have, right? And then, I mean, IP, intellectual property protection. So that's why, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily start like doing filing for patents from day one. But I mean, if it's something that's truly unique, then I mean, okay, that's something to do about. But the first thing is to really make sure that it's a product that we are going to be selling for years to come. Because if it happens that we are not even selling this product, I mean, like let's say that we file a patent and we do all this effort, and in the end, oh, oops, there's no demand, nobody wants to buy it. Okay, well, I mean, that was just complete waste of time, right? This is one part of when choosing the supplier, that I mean, that they are able to produce the capacity, the amount of stock that we need without any delays and any kind of like stock shortages. Because I mean, when we sell on Amazon, it's really important that we don't run out of stock. So that's why we already need to know from day one, when we are like selecting the supplier, that okay, what kind of capacity they have, how much inventory they are able to produce at a given time. How many, if we make an order from now, like how long is the lead time? When are they able to, I mean, produce it? When are they able to ship it, and so on? And then when we actually, I mean, start doing the thing, start the whole project, then we have to regularly check in with the manufacturer. And I mean, check-in can be as simple as just having a call with them, having a video call, asking them to show that, okay, what's going on there? I mean, just keep me up to speed, and can you show me on the video with the webcam? I mean, can you show what's going on there? Like, can you show my units and the progress and so on? Yeah, so definitely like having video calls to build this relationship, right? One thing is that, I mean, this pretty much goes without saying that the most complexity we have, I mean, it's going to increase this production cost, and it's going to increase the timeline of the project as well. When we are designing a product, we should really always target the mass audience, meaning that, for example, if you are doing some kind of like clothing, like for example, we did one kind of like totally customized bag. And initially we were thinking that, yeah, we are going to be doing different color variations and so on. But I think we were discussing that, oh, maybe we should do a certain amount of this color and certain amount of that color. But we realized, I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean, let's just choose the color that appeals to the masses, meaning it's as neutral as possible. Because let's say that we have had made that the decision that, I mean, let's do all these different kind of variations. I'm sure, I mean, so that people are able to choose the best one that suits them. That would have been just complete waste of effort, because what ended up happening is that we actually didn't even continue with the product like after the first batch. Here, it's all about like going as simple as possible, and you can always like add new things as needed.